7 o'clock, August 10th, 2020. Let's call this meeting to order, please. Marcy, would you please read the statement?
Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the public and the press on January 7th, 2020, and was posted on the bulletin board in the municipal building in accordance with the Open Public Meetings Act, NJSA 10:4-7.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Auberger.
Here.
Councilmember Murphy.
Here.
Councilmember Pitsker.
Here.
Councilmember Weller.
Here.
Council President Shortway.
Present. Would everybody please stand and salute the flag? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic
For which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation, under God,
indivisible,
indivisible,
with
with
liberty
liberty
and justice.
and justice for all.
Thank you. Okay, we'll move on to public comments for current agenda items only, limited to 3 minutes per person. I've asked our clerk if it's at 2 minutes and 45 seconds to let the speaker know that, and then we will conclude in that 15 seconds after that notice. So may I have a motion to go into public comments?
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Is anyone opposed? Is anybody abstaining? Seeing none? Marcy, the controls are yours.
I have Mr. Martin O'Donnell. Hi, Mr. O'Donnell.
Good evening, everybody. How is everybody tonight?
Good.
Well,
Good.
Martin, good evening to you.
Good, good. I just wanted to quickly give my support for renaming the street to the, I think it's a class of 2020 or whatever have you, in kind of like honor of the graduating people for 2020 in Vernon there. So just wanted to show my support for that. That's it for the comments.
Thank you, Martin.
Thank you, Martin.
Okay. I have Miss Palladini.
Okay.
Hi, Miss Palladini.
Evening. How are you all? I hope you're
Good
all
evening.
safe. I have a couple things actually. First question is, are we being sued by the SCMUA?
No, we're not.
Oh, good. That's good to hear. Thank you. My other question is, we have resolution 2169, 2170, 2171. Two of them are for the VTMUA. One is for the appraisal of the Baldwin property, but there are no amounts in any of them. I'd like to know why there are no amounts in any of them, and I'd like to know what the amounts are for them.
I would advise you to make an appointment with the mayor, and you could discuss that with him.
But you're voting on this. This is a resolution before the council, and you're voting on the expenditure of these funds. The public does not have the right to know what they are? That was a question.
This isn't a Q&A, Mrs. Palladini. This is your time to make your comment.
Okay, so we can't even ask a question about something that's on the agenda. So what you're saying is that the public does not even have the right to transparency for an item on the agenda that you're spending money on. Is that what you're saying?
I guess that's your comment, because I'm not answering any of your questions.
Okay, so then the answer is the public does not have the right to know an amount on an agenda item. That is outrageous. What a lack of transparency. What disrespect and disregard for the public. And I guess that's all I'll say about that at this time. But I will say that I'm very shocked by your answer. Never in 35 years in attending or following Vernon government meetings have I ever seen a governing body refuse to give information about a resolution they are about to address. My last comment is, as most of you know, I am a teacher, and I am very concerned. I was very, very upset for our students, all of our students. And I guess before I say what I have to say, I want to clarify something that Martin O'Donnell said. Are you actually renaming? Well, you're going to tell me this isn't a Q&A, I guess. Are you actually renaming the street? It's no longer going to be Main Street. It's going to be 2020 Senior Drive. Am I correct in thinking that?
I'll say you're correct.
It's no longer going to be Main Street. Unreal. Thank you. So my comment is,
Your 3 minute is over, Ms. Palladini. I'm sorry.
Thank you, Mrs. Palladini, for your comments.
another 20 seconds.
Please move on, Marcy. 3 minutes is up.
Next, we have Mr. Let's see. We have Mr. Vincent Spazal. I'm sorry, I think I might have said your name wrong. I apologize. Let's see.
Okay, can anybody hear me?
Yes, hi.
Yes, hi.
I apologize, I'm new to this, and this is my first time. Okay, just real
That's
quick,
okay.
my name is Vinny Speziali. I work for the Vernon Township DPW. I am president of the union, Council 62, Local 3181. This is for resolution number 2169, the interlocal service agreement between the DPW and the MUA.
Mr.
Several weeks
Speciali,
ago,
we're removing that from the agenda tonight, but feel free to make comments anyway.
if it's being moved off the agenda tonight, I'm hoping that some emails that were sent out from the union will be responded to. So at this point, I think we're good to go. Thank you for your time.
You're free to make any comment you wish.
No, it's just that, okay, if you'd like to, that we sent several emails out to the union, from the union to the township, just requesting to be able to review the interlocal agreement contract. And both emails have been ignored. We found out that on Friday afternoon that this is going on tonight's agenda. On Saturday, August 8th, an email was sent out to Chuck again from the union, and the email said clearly that the union recently learned that including in tomorrow's township council meeting agenda is the resolution concerning the DPW employees servicing the MUA. Approximately 2 weeks ago, the union requested the opportunity to review any such agreement before it was sent to the township council in case it included any potential issues with the CNA between the township and the union. We expected that in the interest of cooperation and mutual respect between the union and the township, that this courtesy would have been extended and that our request in the regard would not have been ignored. We wanted to avoid having to address and resolve any potential issues after an agreement with the MUA has already been presented to the Township Council. Thanks for your attention to this matter. Seth Garland, Staff Attorney, Absame, New Jersey, Council 63. What I was going to request from that was that Resolution 2169 be tabled until the union would have an opportunity to review the local agreement. Thank you.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
I see no other hands, Council President.
Since there are no other members of the public desiring to speak, may I have a motion to close public comments?
Motion?
Second.
All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Any abstentions? Seeing none, let's move on to the minutes. May I have a motion to adopt the following minutes? Andrew, do you have any comment at this time about the minutes?
Because I was not attending in these two of the three, and the third one being the last one that I was just pointed to, I'm going to abstain from those meeting minutes.
I'll make a motion to adopt the minutes.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, let's go by roll call.
Sure. Vice President Auerberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy, I'm sorry, Jean, we can't hear you. Let's see.
I thought I hit unmute, sorry.
Oh, there we
Yes.
go.
Okay, yes. Councilmember Pittsger abstained. Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Consent agenda. Resolution 20-163, one resolution authorizing the issuance of not exceeding 7,810,727 bond anticipation notes of the Township of Vernon in the County of Sussex, New Jersey. This resolution authorizes the issuance of bond anticipation notes. Resolution number 20-164, resolution authorizing the issuance of not exceeding $400,000 special emergency notes of the Township of Vernon in the County of Sussex, New Jersey. This resolution authorizes the issuance of special emergency notes. Resolution 20-165, authorizing approval of Sussex County contribution to the Vernon and Glenwood Pochuck Ambulance Squad. This resolution authorizes the approval of a contribution to the ambulance squad. Resolution 20-166 has been removed. Resolution number 20-167, Governor's Council on Alcoholism and Drug Abuse Fiscal Grant Cycle, July 2021 through June 25. This resolution authorizes a strategic plan for the Vernon Municipal Alliance Grant. Resolution 20-168, resolution awarding bid for proposed drainage improvements to Pleasant Valley Drive. This resolution awards a bid for drainage improvements. Resolution number 20-170, resolution establishing interlocal service agreement with Vernon Township Municipal Utility Authority for the services of financial administration. This resolution establishes an interlocal service agreement. Resolution number 20-171, resolution authorizing retention of appraisal services for real property commonly known as 8-20 Black Creek Drive and Block 391, Lot 12 on the tax map of Township of Vernon. This resolution authorizes the retention of appraisal services. Resolution number 20-172, resolution authorizing the memorandum of agreement with the Sussex County for participation in the Station House Adjustment and Community Engagement Pilot Program. This resolution authorizes a memorandum of agreement with Sussex County. Resolution number 20-173, a resolution authorizing the execution of a discharge of mortgage for Block 153.21, Lot 2, 96 Breakneck Road. This resolution authorizes the execution of a discharge of mortgage. May I have a motion to adopt the consent agenda resolutions? And which ones want to be pulled?
I'd like to separate a couple out.
Okay, go ahead.
I have questions on resolution 20-170 and 20-171.
Okay, on the other ones, are we good to vote on those?
Would like 165 pulled, separated.
165 is separated.
For the benefit of the residents, should we discuss 2163 and 164 and why we're doing this and what the purpose of it is and the cost savings that we've incurred on it?
If you want to pull those, we can go right through each resolution if you desire.
I think a good summary from why we're doing this would be good for the benefit of the taxpayers to understand that this is a great cost savings for them. That should be discussed.
Okay, why don't we just go through each one then, separate, because so many were just pulled. Okay, let's go through resolution number 20-163, the resolution authorizing the issuance of not exceeding the bond anticipation notes of almost $8 million. Danelle, could you give us an explanation of this, please?
Sure. So this one's different than the ordinance on tonight. This is just our rolling over of our bans that we have for our existing short-term debt. That's just kind of a standard thing that we do every year. We make a pay down on our principal, which we've increased every year, and this is what that is for the first one, 163. I don't know if you want me to talk about 164, which is the
Please do.
The emergency. So the special emergency note is the remaining $400,000 that we have for the reval note that we took out last year. Our reval is considered a special emergency appropriation, and we can, divvy that up over a 5-year period. So we've already raised $600,000 this year with the inclusion of this year's budget. We just have the remainder of the $400,000 on the note.
Any
Now,
further questions from the council? Go ahead, Andrew, I'm sorry.
I'm sorry. When we talk about the cost savings, when these bonds go out, how much are we looking at saving here totally for the period of the loan?
No, so these are the bands, Councilman. These aren't the refunding bonds.
The refunding
Yeah.
bonds.
Yeah. So we can, I don't know if we can talk, I don't know what the point of order is, Council President, if we can talk about the ordinance now or if you wanted to wait.
If it's tied in together, go ahead, go ahead and explain it, because maybe it'll make more sense if you see the big picture.
Sure. So I can discuss the refunding bond. So tonight there's an ordinance on for refunding bonds, essentially to kind of make it a little bit easy to understand. What we have are mortgages the township holds. We have long-term debt. So what we're doing is we're kind of refinancing those mortgages and saving money based on the interest rate. I know the council received some backup information, but we're looking at over $800,000 in estimated savings based on the projected coupon or interest rates that we would be getting. And this is actually the first time that we were able to refund the 2011 bonds. So this was the first time we were able to really try and save money based on the call date. And then the 2008 sewer bonds are included as well. And you'll see a big savings on those too.
Thank you.
Do you have any projected savings overall?
Yeah, it's over $800,000 over the life of these loans, or no, bonds, I should say, sorry.
Okay, very nice. All right, so let's start. We'll vote on these separately. Resolution 20-163. Can I have a motion?
Motion.
Do we have a second?
Second.
Okay, Marcy, let's do each one by roll call so we know where everybody stands.
Vice President Auerberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 20-164. May I have a motion and second, please?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Auerberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, John, you wanted to pull 20-165, correct?
Yeah, you can go ahead.
Okay. You're just abstaining?
Yeah.
Okay. Roll call, please.
I need a motion and a second.
Motion, I'm sorry.
Motion.
Second.
Vice President Auerberger, you're abstaining.
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, we'll go through Resolution 20-166. That's the Governor's Council on Alcohol and Drug Abuse Fiscal Grant Cycle.
I sent an email. This was that one pulled? I'm sorry. I'm wrong. It wasn't pulled. That was 169. Sorry.
Right, and 166 was also pulled. So this is just on the grant cycle. And we go through this every year, correct?
That's 167.
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, roll call.
Sure.
Oh, we have to,
Oh, I'm sorry, motion.
I'll have to make it a motion.
Second.
Okay. Vice President Auerberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller.
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 20-168. This is about the proposed drainage improvements to Pleasant Valley Drive. Danelle, do you know what the amount is offhand on this?
The total amount?
Yes. This is an extensive project, just so you know, because to fix the drainage, you got to step it down. You can't just bring a straight pipe down there because at the end it would just blow everything out. So it's got to be done right.
Give me 1 second, because Corey sent me,
I know the bids went out. I just don't recall the exact amount. I don't want to guess on this.
sorry, just give me 1 sec. I apologize.
No problem.
I don't have that email.
I want to
I'm
say,
sorry, I don't have that email. I know that Chuck spoke with me about it. What I can do is I can get some backup for you and then send it over if you would like.
but it's approximately $200,000 off the top of my head, right? Is there
Yeah,
any
it's actually less
part?
than that.
Yeah, right. Like 178 or something.
187. Is it not in the
187.
resolution?
I have it in front of me, actually. It's
Okay.
187,951.
Okay.
Thank you.
All
And
right.
just to add into that, it was beyond just the scope of the drainage work. We decided to add in the paving of the roadway from where the construction is going to start all the way down to Route 94, so that the road would be in better condition, once the project was completed.
Chuck,
I know this project came up in 2019 and we were waiting to get it done here because the road was actually going to fall apart on the side because of the erosion. All right, can we have a
I have
motion?
I have
I'm
one
sorry.
question for Chuck.
Yes.
Are we doing anything up to the top, right where Pine Street meets PVL Drive, that narrow section with the ledge? Are we working on taking any of that out in this process?
Taking out what exactly are you referring to?
Just as PVL Drive, right at the intersection of Pine Street and Evergreen, it's a choke point. There's some ledge that's exposed, and we've had rock that comes down into the road on occasion. I just wondered why they're doing this, if any of that was being looked to knock back a little bit.
I believe it is being addressed, but I
Very good.
can't say 100%.
Okay,
Can I have a motion to adopt?
motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Orberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Abstain.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway,
Yes.
motion carries.
Resolution 20-170, resolution establishing interlocal service agreement with the Vernon Township Municipal Utility Authority and the services of financial administration. Jane, you wanted this poll, you want to begin?
Yeah, right. I have a question. This is for 3 years. Don't we usually do them for one? Aren't they usually done every year?
No, the last one was done for a 3-year period, or a 2-year period, I believe. And I think the one before that.
And now we've increased it. And the amounts are, weren't the amounts usually separated out earlier? Like,
There were 2 separate agreements, but they wanted one agreement now.
okay. And just
Because
for,
the MUA hired a part-time person, so some of the items are being done there. But yeah, it's under one existing contract. I mean, the tax department is under finance anyway, so.
so what it's done, has it increased the overall amount that when they were separated?
No.
No. So just for the public's knowledge, because it's not a secret, for the year 2020, the amount is $74,900. For the year 2021, it's $76,300, and for the year 2022, it's $78,700. So I just was wondering why it was for the several years.
Thank you, Gina. Thank you for giving us those numbers too. I appreciate that. Okay, can we have a motion?
Motion.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Orberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Abstain.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway,
Yes.
motion carries.
Okay, resolution 20-171, resolution authorizing retention of appraisal services for real property commonly known as 820 Black Creek Drive in Block 39-1, Lot 12 in the tax map of the Township of Vernon. Hey, Jane, you want to begin this, please?
Sure. I see that we actually now added who the original appraiser was on this property 2 years ago. So thank you for correcting that. And this is for 2 appraisals. And I think were the amounts in our last one of the resolutions that was, because weren't they around $1,800 a piece?
I can give you, if I can speak, Mr. Council President,
Sure.
the 2 estimates that we got was one from Landmark Appraisal. Landmark 1 appraisal was for $1,895, and one for Norman J. Goldberg was for $1,850. So it's about $1,800.
Well, and for the council's position, it does say attached proposals, and there is nothing attached. Like I said, I didn't know, I think maybe one of them may have been attached to one of our prior agendas, but it should be attached to ours. But in doing so, I have questions about the resolution, the way it's written. And it states here, whereas proposals to appraise the property in accordance with New Jersey Green Acres Program standards have been received by Landmark 1 Appraisal and Norman J. Goldberg. And it says a determination has been made that the new appraisal should also be obtained from them. So it goes on to say that now therefore, it says the mayor is hereby authorized to enter into agreements with Landmark 1 Appraisal and Norman J. Goldberg in accordance with the attached proposals for appraisal services. And that's why, like I said, we're voting on something that we don't have the actual numbers for, but thank you for giving them to me. Then it goes on, it says, upon receipt of appraisals, the mayor is hereby authorized to execute a contract for the purchase of the property. However, acquisition of the property cannot occur until after the property is appraised and the passage of an ordinance authorizing acquisition of the property. That's it. Now, it's my understanding we're getting the 2 appraisals, so it would qualify for Green Acres or to apply for grants. Is that correct?
Mayor?
I'm trying to
muted.
unmute myself. Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. You are correct.
Okay. But this resolution doesn't state that it's subject to getting any grant money, because actually, you know, with this, we're just giving you the okay to go ahead and negotiate. It doesn't say, I mean, I don't see here where it says that it's subject, you know, even you negotiating the contract. The way I look at this, that it's written, what's the point of getting the appraisals? Because we're just giving the mayor the authority to go ahead and negotiate. You know, yes, when the appraisals come in, but it doesn't mean, it doesn't say that it's subject to acquiring any grant money.
Perhaps the council majority would buy it without the grant money. I don't know.
So
That's
then,
not what we're discussing.
well,
We're asking for the appraisals to be done.
so
right?
then you just answered my question. See, and that's the issue here with it is, to me now, what you've just said is, well, now the council really, the majority of the council, you're saying, could just buy it, whether it says there's grant money of being given to Vernon or not. Now, to me, that's a little underhanded, because that's not what's proposing. And the mayor just said the reason for the appraisals is to be able to apply for grant money. And now you're saying, well, the way it's written, it's going to allow us to just go ahead whether we get grant money or not.
I
And
didn't
that's
say
very
that. I
disingenuous.
said the majority may want to go on and have it bought anyway.
Yeah, Harry, you know that that's not true, because you know what? You wouldn't have said that, but you just showed your hand.
I have nothing to hide.
I'm not saying you have anything to hide, but what I'm saying is this isn't subject to even getting any grants. So what's the point of getting the appraisals? You already know what you want to pay for it. You have the majority of the council that you're thinking is going to go ahead and vote for it.
We
So why
don't know
you
how
just
the
do
council,
it?
we don't know how the council is going to vote on it. We'll put it up for a motion.
Then
and if
it
we
should
get a
have in
second, then
here.
we'll vote.
I had a conversation with the mayor about 2 months ago over this property, and the mayor said it'll be subject anyway to be receiving grant money. And I said to him, you know, those things tend to change. And I'm holding the document right in my hand where it's now changed, because it's not subject to us getting a dime of grant money from anyone. So this should be changed. And you know what? I mean, how many times do we have to revisit a resolution?
We can move it for a motion. If it passes, it passes. If it fails, it fails.
Well, I'd like to
Do I
make
have
a
a motion
motion
for the
that
mo-
it be,
the
that
resolution?
it be, I'd like to make the motion that it be written correctly. If you're going to go ahead and apply for grants and pay for appraisals, then they should mean something.
I'll second that.
We just have a clarification regarding what motion Councilmember Auberger is seconding, because two were made at the same time.
I
It should
was
be subject-
seconding the motion that Jean had made about this being written correctly to include the appraisal to include grant money.
That it's subject to us
Wait,
receiving
as I
grant money.
understand it, the purchase of the property has to be conditioned on receiving grant money. Is that the amendment?
Correct. And actually, the number that Chuck kept throwing out was $200,000 of grant money. You know, that doesn't mean if we get $5 that you can go ahead with it. I mean, you're talking about spending an enormous amount of money. And yes, the property could be in the sewer service area. And that came from you, Harry. You actually told me it was. That's why the price tag was so
Then
high.
it's subject, it could easily be hooked up. The manhole cover's right on the boundary.
Correct. So why would we be taking, that was my initial point. Why would we be taking, when we're so desperate for property in the sewer service area, why would we be taking property away from it? I'm not saying,
Hey,
it's-
you're in real estate. Do you see how many pieces of property is open? You've also said it wasn't a good piece of property in our discussion 2 years ago.
and I said not for the price. It
No,
all
no.
comes
You
down,
said-
it all comes down to the money.
I'm not going to come down that. Let's get the motion on the floor, see if there's a second, and let's vote.
Well, this, the way it's written is disingenuous. So
We
it's
have a
to
motion, we have a
include,
second. Correct? Gene made the motion. John, you
Yes.
seconded, is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, Marcy, roll call.
Vice President Auberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway,
No.
motion carries. To have the resolution written correctly.
Well, as I understand the motion that was made, it was a motion to make the purchase of the property contingent on the municipality receiving grant funding. What that amount of funding is, I have no idea.
Contingent. I'm just writing
Well-
this down.
But it has to be something, and that's just it.
It has to be something that can be sorted out on the ordinance to approve the purchase.
Once the price is negotiated. And I'm sorry, you know, like I said, it has to make sense.
Well, if I could, Mr. President, I think that what the Councilor Zelinski is saying, and I understand that this resolution here will not pass. I really want to be able to get this appraisal, so I want to make sure that the next resolution on this that we have is written correctly. And I think that he's asking, all that we've got to do is asking what do we need in the next resolution to meet the bill? That is to have the resolution to simply say that the purchase of the property is contingent upon getting some grant money.
No, I think that we just amended the resolution, so it passed with the amendment.
That's correct.
Yes.
As I understand the amendment, the mayor is authorized to enter into the contracts for the two appraisals. And then the second paragraph of the resolution regarding the authority to execute a contract for the purchase of the property, that the mayor is only allowed to execute that contract provided the municipality procures and secures grant funding for the purchase. And that can be, again, that is something that can be addressed as the resolution provides. The property cannot be a contract to purchase cannot be signed until after an ordinance is passed. So the appraisals can go forward.
And we'll have to, and Mayor, what we should be doing then is, once a price is determined and the amount of grant money is offered, that's when the council could decide whether or not to move forward with it.
That would be my expectation,
Right.
Councilwoman Murphy.
But this
Yeah.
gives you the right to get the appraisals.
Right. Thank you.
Thank you.
So the amendment passes. So now do I have a motion for the resolution itself? That's 20-171,
Well,
right?
I'll make the
We added
motion
the
as
amendment.
amended. Didn't we make the motion as amended?
I thought it was the amendment. We made the motion to add the amendment. Don't we have to vote on the
Josh?
resolution?
We can vote on it again,
Okay.
as amended.
Okay. I'll
As
make the
amended.
motion as amended.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Auberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, resolution 20-172. Resolution authorizing a memorandum of agreement with the Sussex County for participation in the Station House Adjustment and Community Engagement Pilot Program. This resolution authorizes a memorandum of agreement with Sussex County. Anyone have any questions?
I
Okay,
guess,
ahead.
yes, if I may, a couple questions I have for this is that this started back in January 1st, 2020 and goes through December 31st. So have we spent anything on this resolution already?
My understanding, and Mayor, correct me, I know we were having discussions on this. We haven't spent anything. The program is not in effect yet because they're looking for those 4 departments to sign on. What they're doing is, as I understand it, Station House Adjustment, it came about the AG guidelines in 1990. There was another directive in 2008. It's a preferred process if you catch a juvenile doing something minor the first time, or perhaps other minor acts of juvenile delinquency. It's pretty much like a counsel and release. You work with them, you talk with them. You don't want to get them involved in the system if you don't have to. You make a note of it, but that's it. It's, I think, a kinder, gentler way. I know when I was in West Milford, we had a program like this following the AG's guidelines as far back as 1999. And then there's another part of this where the juvenile would actually work with a police officer, some kind of, and correct me if I'm wrong on this, Mayor or Chuck, like community service. So it builds a relationship between the police and the juvenile. And I think we could all appreciate improving relationships for those that we serve. So no money's been spent. It would be federal money going to the state who would allocate the money. We used to call them block grants. I don't know if they're calling it that any longer. But there's no expense at this time. But they want to know if towns are ready. The 4 towns they're looking at, Burns being one, I want to say Paconk's another, perhaps Sparta. If we're interested in going forward, I know the chief of police is very positive for this program.
Okay, very good.
You're absolutely right, Mr. Council President. And actually, the experience from the program that you were involved in West Milford was one of the guides in terms of giving us some feedback on this. It's a good program. Again, no money has yet been spent, and it'll be federal dollars.
All right, so we have an opportunity in the next 3.5 months to do something. Are there plans with the police department to start something?
You speak with an echo a little bit. I didn't understand. I'm sorry.
All right, that's right. I'll try again. The question is, with the 3.5 months that we have left, are there any plans by the police department to be able to do this?
Chuck, can you address that? Have you talked to the police about this? Chuck? I can't seem to get Chuck. That's a specific question that I cannot answer. I have not spoken to them specifically about this, Councilman.
I apologize. I was muted and I didn't have the ability to jump in. You're right, Mayor, that this is something that will take place for the rest of this year and probably carry over into 2021, even though this resolution does not indicate that. But it would be something that would offer alternative programs such as counseling and community service, as was already discussed, to the 4 police departments that are indicated in the agreement. And as I pointed out, and as was already pointed out, that the Chief Young is very excited about the opportunity to do something like this. The programs that for community service would be offered from the county level not just from the township level. So this way that it depends all upon how many individuals, juveniles are involved in this program. So I think once we agree to it, that it will be divided equally if all the departments that are offered this take part in it, and it will go forward as long as the money lasts, as simple as that. So I think it will definitely carry over because it's so late in this year that it will go into 2021. And as soon as the money is used up, it would, it could continue if it's renewed. But if not, it would be a valuable tool for the period of time that it is offered.
And we in Vernon Township are very fortunate to have a police chief who is really enthusiastic about this. He is a real unique person. He's a good law enforcement person, but he's the kind of police chief that I wish they had in many places around this nation. If they did, the whole attitudes towards police would be just completely different.
I just look forward to seeing the plans before the end of the year so that we can get some activity going. I think it is a great program. Thank you.
Anybody else?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Auberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Resolution 173, a resolution authorizing the execution of a discharge of mortgage for block 153.21, lot 2, 96 Breakneck Road. Any discussion? Okay, can I have a motion?
Motion.
Second?
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Auberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, number 8 on the agenda. Introduction, first reading of proposed ordinances. Ordinance 20-14, refunding bond ordinance, authorizing the issuance of $8,500,000 refunding bonds for the Township of Vernon in the County of Sussex, New Jersey. This ordinance authorizes refunding bonds. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 20-14?
Motion.
Second.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Auberger,
Yes.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, thank you. Ordinance 20-15, ordinance of the Township of Vernon, County of Sussex, State of New Jersey, designating Main Street as 2020 Senior Drive. This ordinance designates Main Street as 2020 Senior Drive. May I have a motion to introduce ordinance 20-15?
Motion.
Second.
Roll call, please.
Vice President Auberger,
Abstain.
Councilmember Murphy,
Yes.
Councilmember Pittsger,
Yes.
Councilmember Weller,
Yes.
Council President Shortway.
Yes.
Motion carries.
Okay, let's move on to public comments, limited to 3 minutes on any topic. Controls are yours, Marcy.
I have Mr. Mike Fury. Mr. Fury,
I see he's muted.
yes.
Should we, point of order, should we have made a motion to open to the public?
Oh, I'm sorry. Make the motion.
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, thank you, John.
Thank you, John.
Yeah, this is the mic. Though. They haven't unmuted me.
Mr. Fury,
Come on, Mike. Unmute yourself. No, Mr. Fury is Mike Fury. Somebody now.
I know, we have Mr. O'Donnell's unmuted, Marcy.
yes. We'll start with Mr. O'Donnell. I'm sorry.
Okay.
Oh,
Hi,
hello
Mr.
again,
O'Donnell.
everybody.
Hello, Mr. O'Donnell.
Okay, you can hear me. Well, you know that I'm one of the people in town that praise everybody when they do something good, but that's not the case for tonight. I just wanted to mention, I went over the last meeting's video a few times, and I don't think I'm incorrect in saying that when somebody makes a motion on the council, the proper protocol for doing so is saying, I'd like to make a motion, and then actually stating what that motion is for, okay? That's almost never done on this council. So my request is that we step it up a little bit, okay? And we become a little more professional. And that leads into my next comment. This comment is for Gene. Gene, I really think that sometimes your comments are unprofessional and they are directed directly towards other people on the council, which don't include anything to do with business. And then to the point where it got in the paper after last meeting, and it's a little bit embarrassing. And I don't want to be embarrassed to live in this town. So if we can step it up a little bit and get a little more professional, it would be greatly appreciated by not only me, but many of the other townspeople. So that being said, I think that we should, again, this is the third time I've come to this meeting and said the same thing, and nobody's ever discussed it, and I'm going to say it again. I think that our council people and our committee people in town need the proper training on local government and Robert's rules, etc., all right, so that the town runs a little bit more professional, a little bit more efficient. It's the third time I've said this, and I'm also going to say again that I don't think you guys listen to anything we say. And it's starting to get a little bit annoying. And with that, I close. Thank you.
Thank you, Martin.
I'm sorry. Let's see. Mr. Fury? He's not muted. Mr. Fury, can you hear me? Okay, I'm going to go to Mr. Dan Kraus.
Okay.
Everybody, good evening. This is Dan Kraus here in Glenwood. Just wanted to reach out and talk to you guys to see if we had any updates on a community pump track. I think last we left off was we were going to have some site testing, and just wanted to see if that has been conducted, and if so, do we have any commentary on that?
Mary, can you address that in your comments?
I'll jump in here for the mayor because I think he's doesn't realize. The next meeting this month to be discussed, the results of the testing that was done.
Marcy, can you make sure that's on the agenda for the next meeting, please?
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
You're welcome.
All right.
Okay. Next, I have Ms. Palladini.
So you answered Dan Kraus's question, but you refused to clarify my question about agenda items. You know, and I'm going to direct this to you too, Mayor, as much as I respect you. Instead of treating residents so disrespectfully and refusing to clarify even agenda items, you could have said, it would not suffice really, but you could have said, we're going to address those numbers when we vote on the resolution, instead of reaching a new low on a lack of transparency. Secondly, what I want to say is, speaking of things being written correctly, something that we keep addressing again and again, you just voted on something that was written incorrectly and or falsified. The Vernon seniors did have a graduation and they did have a prom. All I'm saying is, for 15 years, we have spent $38 million on Main Street and sewers, and now we're just changing and ignoring that. Why are we singling out one segment of the population that has been affected? Why not name it Medical Heroes Drive? What about Vernon Nurses Drive, Vernon Student Way, Vernon EMT Drive, or what about even Joan Ross Memorial Drive, a stalwart in our community who died because of COVID-19. As much as I want to see our kids get what is due them, I feel that this was a very bad precedent that you just adopted. But the last item that I want to say is directed to all of you, but mainly to Kelly Weller. I have had extensive conversations now with Port Jervis about their bicycle pump track, how they did it, and so on and so forth. And at the last meeting, Kelly Weller said, well, now that we know that we can use street sweepings and used asphalt, because we know Port Jervis did it, I don't know who told you that, and I don't know who's parroting whom, but that's 100% false and inaccurate. They did not do that at all. So once again, I'm going to say to you that I have more than 150 photographs of that DPW dump that proves that there was solid waste buried there, that proves that there's toxic waste, that proves that there's dumping in the wetlands, and proves that has not been a temporary facility. And I'm going to tell you that I'm going to do everything that I know to do to prevent a bicycle pump track in a toxic waste dump. And I'm going to ask you again, please put it in one of our 2 beautiful parks. But above all, stop misleading residents and making ridiculous, ignorant comments such as, now that we know we could use used asphalt and street sweepings, when that's not the truth at all. Thank you.
Next, Marcy.
Was I muted that whole time?
No, you were
No,
not.
we heard you.
Okay, thank you.
I have Tom McGlackery. Hi, Mr. McGlackery.
Myself. There you go. I'm muted.
Hello, Tom.
How we doing? Hey, Harry, and Mr. Boca. You know, I listened to that one resolution you were doing about the youth and, you know, all that stuff that you do when your kid's gonna be wiped off your records. So listen, you guys still got me down for those 4 horseshoes that I stole off that horse, or what? You know, I know it's gonna look bad. But seriously, the other comment I have to make is I think, and I'll say this to any of you, I haven't listened to various councils over the last 30 years. I think Ms. Murphy's comments were spot on. I don't know what Mr. O'Donnell's problem is, but hey, I don't see it. And I don't think you should be giving a blank check to anybody, which essentially that resolution was. And I think, you know, at this time, from a financial perspective, any money that we can save, we should be saving it. You're going to refinance bonds so you can save some money. Bravo on that. You know, and that's about all I got to say, except the other thing is, the last thing, I know this will upset some people. Jesse, Mrs. Palladini keeps saying she doesn't know who mentioned road sweepings and asphalt. That was the mayor. And he was talking about, he had talked to Port Jervis about, and this is about the pump track, which I still confess to being absolutely unequivocally clueless about, nor do I think that 60-year-olds on bicycles is something I want to see. Having said that, you know, it was just an off-the-cuff comment, no big deal. And as far as photographs showing toxic waste, unless you got somebody pushing up the daisies there, you're never really going to be able to tell that from a photograph. And that's me for the night, folks, and have a good week and stay healthy.
Thanks, Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
Sorry. I have Mr. O'Donnell again, Council President.
He already spoke, right?
I didn't use all my time.
Yeah, one shot at the apple.
I didn't use all my time.
You get one shot, Martin, that's it. I'm not going to start up a new precedent. If you got concerns, you know my number. You can call me.
So then I don't see anybody else, Council President.
Okay, do I have a motion to close public comments?
Motion. I make a motion to close public comment.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody opposed? Seeing no one. Anybody abstaining? Seeing no one. Okay, mayor's report.
Thank you, Mr. Council President. On behalf of the council, you requested that I update the council on the status of several issues, some of which have lingered from past years. In my comments tonight, I will respond to your request by updating the council on 2 of these issues. And in my future comments, I will be addressing the other issues that you've also asked me about.
Thank you,
The
Mr.
first,
Mayor.
the first issue on which I provide an update is the long-standing Legends property issue. What at one time was a beautiful Vernon Township attraction and a great tax rateable for our town has for the past several years been a town eyesore and a tax liability. As I understand it, for years, our town has attempted to get the owner of the Legends property to live up to his responsibilities as a taxpayer. However, those efforts have not yet been fully successful. In addition, the Legends property is our municipality's 3rd highest assessed municipal taxpayer, with a current assessed value of $11.5 million. Because of these factors, getting an acceptable resolution on this Legends property issue
He froze
and
up.
in direct telephone and email negotiations with the
Mayor Burrell.
I think all 3 in the township poll just froze.
Oh,
Excuse me?
You froze up. Maybe you can go back to about 5 or 6 sentences ago, Mr. Mayor.
Okay.
You just said 11.5 million, 3rd highest assessed taxpayer.
Absolutely. And that's because of these factors, getting an acceptable solution to this property issue has been a priority for me. During the 7 months that I've been in office, I have been engaged in regular direct telephone and email negotiations with the Legends property's principal owner, Mr. Hilly Myers, who lives in the state of Florida. My overall objective has been, and quite frankly still is, to get the delinquent property taxes paid and to get the Legends property functioning again as a town asset if we possibly can. One of the major obstacles to finding a solution to the tax issues related to this property is the fact that over the years, the Legends property has been subdivided into many different block and lot condo-like units. Plus, some of the tax liabilities have been off the third-party holders. For example, Myers claims ownership and responsibility for 504 of the subdivided units. Tax receipts show that for those 504 units, Mr. Myers has in fact paid taxes that are due to 2018. However, taxes that have been paid on these 504 units, only a small portion of the $5.4 million in taxes records show are due on the total Legends property. As a result of many and often, and quite frankly, very frank and direct negotiating sessions that Mr. Myers and I have had, plus my insistence on not relenting on the 2006 hold former Mayor Shortway that you placed on renewal of Legends liquor license that Mr. Myers hold, and the strong expression of my intent to explore the possibility of using eminent domain to facilitate the redevelopment of this property, and a strong desire, quite frankly, on the part of both Mr. Myers and I to find a solution. In part, the result of this approach through legal counsels, Mr. Meyer and I have been able to finally group all of our concerns and issues into 3 major categories and have recently come to an agreement on 2 of those 3 categories. If we can come to an agreement on a key matter in the final category, the agreement that we would put together would result in Myers immediately paying the full amount of the $397,000 in 2019 taxes and interest on those 504 units for which he acknowledges full responsibility. And it would result in achieving the objective of getting the Legends other delinquent taxes paid and getting Legends property functioning as a town, either through Mr. Myers getting a fully executed contract for development of the Legends or getting a fully executed contract to sell the Legends property, or agreeing to have the Legends property sold by. While I am hopeful, I hasten to remind you that nothing is found on this issue until the official agreement is signed, and I'll keep you informed. The second issue on which you have asked that I provide an update is the status of our town implementation of short-term rental ordinance that the council adopted and I signed on April the 13th this year. After the passage of the short-term rental ordinance in April, in May, the council gave me the authorization to enter into a contract with Host Compliance, a national company that has helped over 400 different towns, cities, and counties around the U.S. to implement and enforce fair and effective short-term rental rules and procedures. As is the case with most everything in our lives this year, COVID-19 related issues have put some constraint on the speed at which the town and Host Compliance had desired and expected progress with the full implementation of our short-term rental ordinance. However, Business Administrator Chuck Volk and I, last week, completed the official Host Compliance training session as a way of monitoring and the sufficiency of that training. And within the next several days, this training will be provided to appropriate members of our town. Mr. Volk actually manages our town's relationship with Host Compliance, and in a few minutes, he will give you a little bit more specific detail and update on our full implementation. In addition, I've asked Mr. Volker to provide an update on the status of another issue that you asked me about, this issue that we've come to know as the late panorama sign. So with Chuck, would you chip in and start with Host Compliance and then go to the
Yes, Mayor.
Thank you, Mayor.
In regard to Host Compliance, they are a company that is highly successful and actually were recently purchased by a larger company called Granicus, which handles a lot of municipality work throughout the country. The contract that we signed in late June with Host Compliance gives us 5 components. The first, probably one of the most important parts, is address identification. Part of that was that we initially gave them a spreadsheet that was provided by our tax assessor to assist them in identifying the particular addresses that are actually in Vernon who are offering their particular properties for short-term rentals. The second part of this is compliance monitoring. That involves several things. It involves that there will be a letter that is sent to the short-term rental owners along with an application form for them to fill out. And we'll follow up with a letter within a certain period of time that we designate if they have not complied with the initial letter, which gives them a designated time in which to comply. It will also involve them having the actual application form, which they can file online. The other thing with the compliance monitoring is a hotline. Now, the hotline, which has already been designated a number, which we will put out on the website in the near future, is to report locations that are not actually registered at the present time, and/or problems at already registered addresses. And this particular hotline operates on a 24/7 basis throughout the year. The compliance monitoring also includes online registration and will also include online application fee payment. We have to work out those details, and that can take, according to them, up to 4 to 5 weeks to complete the site. At the present time, we have 179 possible properties in Vernon. Of those 179, 115 are confirmed as actual properties that are currently being used as short-term rentals. Now, obviously, with COVID issue, some of the properties may not be on the radar of this company and may not be currently being offered, but we will follow up and make sure that we get all of them at the appropriate time. Another part of the training, another part of the contract that we have with host compliance is training for all Vernon employees who will be involved in this process. That includes myself, the mayor, the clerks, the CFO, and one that's most important is the
Fire marshal.
Fire marshal. I'm sorry, fire marshal. Thank you, Mayor.
Mm-hmm.
And so when we complete that training, which has already started, that we will be able to move forward as quickly as we possibly can. As they have pointed out to us, that we are not different than a lot of other areas throughout the country, that because of the COVID issue, that many properties are not being rented or offered for rental as frequently as they previously had been. But in knowing that we do have 115 confirmed properties that are currently being rented is extremely important to us, and we need to get those registered as quickly as possible. We'll be moving forward with putting a lot of this information on the website as quickly as possible, and letters will be sent to these confirmed properties and even to the possible properties that we think may be currently offered or have been offered in the past. Does anybody have any questions about that?
Chuck, if I may ask one question.
Mm-hmm.
In that process, do they have a registration for new places that will come up, or is that something we have to put together?
Well, everything's new at this point, Councilman. We have not had an application out there yet. We are going to be putting it out, and we're hoping that we will get compliance without having to do anything more than, put it on the website and ask for the particular properties that we have already recognized or been identified by sending them letters. But that's part of the compliance monitoring, that if we have properties that are not under, that have not been notified to, we have not been notified about from the company, that we will follow up with any notification that we get on the 24/7 hotline, because obviously who's going to know better than the people that are living next door to such a place. So we're hoping that that will assist us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. With regard to the issue of Lake Panorama and the sign there, many of you know that this was something that was done in 2017, and it has been completed as of 2018 with the sign being there. The issue was that they did it without any approvals from the township. They went forward and just erected a wall and a sign. As it turns out, when we got an actual survey of that area, that the sign and the wall are all in the right of way for that area. And we were initially told by the Lake Panorama president that they were considering actually taking over the roadway, which would alleviate the concern for the township. I know that I think our attorney has had some conversations with their attorney. I don't think they are any longer interested in doing that. So we have to look at the other options. I have been in contact with the current HOA president, Audrey Falgaris, who was president at the time that this wall was erected. And we have asked to have another meeting as soon as possible to discuss this as far as what the options would be. As I said, the wall was erected in a right-of-way that was actually in front of a property that the township owns. I know the original thought was that perhaps if the wall was moved farther back onto the property that the township owns and they were to purchase it from us, that would rectify things. And that is still a possibility. But when they actually saw the survey and realized how far into the right-of-way their sign actually was, I think they realized that they don't want to go to a great expense to rectify the situation. So the obvious issue that we can always address is that, we can always, like with other things that were erected improperly, especially since it's on township property, we could just remove it if we chose to, but we're hoping to come to some other resolution that will be beneficial to both Lake Panorama and the township.
Thank you. Mayor, you have any other comments to make?
No, that ends our report, Mr. Council President. And as I said, I will follow up on that list of other items that you had asked me to update the council on.
Thank you very much, and thank you for these reports. Appreciate it. Let's move to council comments. Ms. Murphy.
First thing I'd like to ask questioning is the New Jersey League conference that's usually held in November. I know that they've been sending out surveys to try to find out. I mean, is Vernon Township, with this COVID going on, have you come to a determination to just not send people, that Vernon Township should cancel? Because regardless of whether or not they hold the conference. So I was just wondering what, if anything, has been thought of. Or you don't have to answer me. It's just, I guess it's just a comment. Like I said, with everything going on, I wouldn't think it would be a good idea. We're not even holding meetings. And it is in November, which is, a couple months away, but it may not be the best thing for anybody.
Can I comment?
Councilwoman, your
Council
thinking
President?
on that is somewhat similar to mine. We aren't traveling, moving, doing anything of that nature right now. We're kind of holding in place.
I think Marcy had a comment about it.
Yeah,
Marcy, please.
I actually have been getting information on it, booking hotels like I normally would do, and I haven't done anything because I would like to go in a normal situation, but I wouldn't go now. And I did fill out that survey and recommend that they do it through webinars. And I'm hoping that a lot of other people that filled out that survey said the same thing, and that maybe they'll change their mind and do it that way.
I filled out the survey also, and we have, as the township as a whole, has not made any reservations at any of the hotels, and we are holding off until we see where the results of the survey indicate that they're looking to move.
Yeah, looks like Kristen just said she filled it out too.
Correct.
So, all right, thank you. And a few meetings ago, we were discussing whether or not to disband the MUA or not, and then we had asked our attorney if he would look into the possibility that it would never be a good idea to disband the MUA. So I was just wondering if there was any update or if it's just still.
So we're still working on the research on that. It's somewhat complicated with respect to what happens if the MUA were to be disbanded, and how statutory lien rights would work if a utility took over those assets. But we should have something done by after Labor Day.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. And then thank you, Mayor and Chuck, for the updates. After this past storm, of course, one of my other ones that I had questioned was the Brook Hollow Bridge, which is still standing, but it was storms like this that actually ended up creating the problem. And I'm just wondering, since it's been going on since I think it was 2016, which was when Harry was mayor and when we first started looking into this, and now it being 2020, I'm just wondering if anything were to happen. I don't know if the town has contacted maybe in writing, because if anything would happen, could the town be responsible for not having pursued this, being repaired or moving forward? Because like I said, it just seemed to stand still.
Councilwoman, I think this is what I call the Vernon View Drive West.
Yes.
I believe it's the same thing we're talking about. And in fact, we've got a meeting set up. What's the date, Chuck? Next week sometime?
No, it's this Wednesday.
Oh, this Wednesday. Okay,
This
yeah.
Wednesday.
We've got a meeting set up with, there are 12 properties there and 11 different property owners that are listed. So, it's a private road, a private bridge, but just from a safety standpoint, we want to see if we can help them resolve something. So we're all working on it. And we'll, in fact, I'm hoping that in my report at the next meeting, that'll be something I'll be able to give you more of an update on.
Okay. And something if I might add to the list was Northwoods. I'm not sure where the township stands with all those fines that were on the Northwoods property. Harry probably has an idea. So I'm just not sure if that's something, where that thing stands. Another comment is, members of the public are entitled to their opinion, as am I. Just because I'm on the council, as an elected official, if I have a comment to make, I will make it. And so I have to say about that. And then the last thing was the MUA appointments. Is that something you're addressing today? Harry?
You're speaking, that's not addressed to me because.
No, I'm sorry. No, to Harry.
I'm sorry.
The next meeting, we'll have the resolutions on.
Okay, because on mine, it just was the seat.
Right. Marcy, again, make a note. We'll have those resolutions. Mr. Solinsky, if you could draw those up, and we'll discuss during the week. But we'll put that on the next agenda for the next meeting.
That's all I have.
Thank you. John?
I just want to comment that the fence around to the right as you come in the doors, around the exit pit for downstairs looks great. I also want to say thank you to both the Township Road Department and the County Road Department for all their work during the storm and all the volunteers, because it was a busy day and hectic days afterwards during the cleanup. Job well done.
Thank you, John. Kelly?
I just want to say a quick thank you to Michelle Downtain for all the hard work she's done with the farmers market and getting the great setup by the senior center. For those of you who haven't had a chance to see it, she got a ton of donations from people around town to build the flower boxes and get the seating. I know she's arranging for some arts and crafts for the seniors, and she's really just done an amazing job. This weekend alone, I think we saw our biggest number of vendor turnouts for the farmers market. I think we had upwards of 14, and I think the next market will have even more. So I just want to say to her, thank you so much for all your hard work. It does not go unnoticed. We appreciate you. And thank you for everyone else who volunteers for the farmers market as well. So, and if you haven't been there, make sure you check it out.
Excellent point.
Thanks, Kelly. Great work. I know you're part of that too, so thank you. Andrew?
Actually, I want to make the same comment as John. Watch the county and the town DPW's clear roads. They were amazing here on 565, literally taking dozers and pushing logs down the road to clear the roads for them. So outstanding job by them. And the electrical companies did a good job as well. Kelly, I was at the farmer's market. All I got to say is quality vendors, a quality job done by everybody, and the compliance with the mask and safety and social distancing was well respected. And I'm impressed by our townspeople and the people participating in that. So great job for all. One other point, I've been out talking to some of the businesses and some contractors in the area, and this is something we can address maybe with Howard, the mayor. Our building department and permitting processes and getting inspections done seems to be slow in some of the areas, and how we can be more efficient at it. So it's something that I've talked to a variety of people, and something I think we need to address in the future is how do we make that improvement? Because these contractors are sitting on jobs waiting for an inspection, and they can't move to the next job so that they can continue to make money. And that money also moves along to us as well, so as taxpayers. So I'd like to see if we can make that more efficient somehow and help those contractors. That's my comments for today.
Thank you. My comments are to Martin Donald regarding training. The league meeting, municipalities, that's usually held in Atlantic City in November. That's where most of the training does take place. And there is a seminar that newly elected officials go to, and I don't recall when that was, maybe in December or so. All this training, if they don't go to webinars, that's where the training is done. And it's about, 3 or 4 days, the conference, and you really, all kinds of different stuff goes on there and a lot of valuable training. So I don't know if it's gonna happen in person. I hope they go to the webinars on that. To Mr. McClackery, I don't know if he's still on, but I'm a 60-something-year-old, and I'm riding my bike almost 50 miles a week, and you're welcome to join me. I haven't got hit yet. So, and I know Andrew's also a cyclist also. So, and Andrew, I hate to say, but you're 60-something also, right?
Yes, sir, but I stay on the trails, not the road.
I dread the roads, but I'm out there. I do like to call attention to the police department. And it really is a community. I think it reflects on our whole community. We are rated again in one of the top communities, crime-free, in the whole nation. And I think it really reflects on the great job our men and women do in the police department under the leadership of Chief Young and this community, in fact, that we're all one and we work together. And I think the resolution we passed tonight is another step in the right direction. That no matter our position as council people, or whether it's police officers or firefighters, first aid teachers, we always want to improve our service. And I think this community is on the right track and does that. That being said, I thank you all. Have a pleasant night and a very safe week. Thank you. Bye now.
We're gonna ask
Motion to
for-
adjourn business meeting.
Okay, second. Andrew, you
I
second?
second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. Bye, everyone.
Thank you.
Night.